Means
Hi, Anthony.
Hi, how are you, Nick?
I'm good. How are you?
Nice to see you.
Always a pleasure.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Same to you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Madam Chair, we're all set. I will just make an announcement. For those of you that are here for appointments, if you could just mute and turn your cameras off for the time being, and when you're called upon, we'll ask you to turn your camera on. Thank you. All yours, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Good evening, folks. I am Providence Councilwoman Joanne Ryan. This is the Committee on Finance regular meeting, Thursday, January 13. It is 5:32 p.m. Madam Clerk, could you kindly read the roll?
Chairwoman Ryan,
Present.
Vice Chairwoman Castillo,
Present.
Councilman Narducci,
Yeah.
Councilwoman Anthony,
Present.
Councilman Taylor is absent. We have 4 present and 1 absent. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Let the record reflect that we are staffed this evening by our wonderful city solicitor, Ken Chavarini.
So
Thank you,
noted.
Madam Chair.
And of course, the great Tina Mastriani is our clerk this evening, assisted by Donna Pelagian. Thank you very much for being here. I can't see anyone, any other council people on?
Councilman Vargas.
Oh, Councilman
on.
Vargas, our regular. Welcome, Councilman Vargas, and thank you for joining us this evening. Okay, first item. Do we want to swear everyone in, or do we want to wait until we do this item? Let's swear everybody in that's going to talk on item 1. How's that?
Sure. So if everyone who's speaking on item 1 could please raise their right hand. 1 second. Oh, I'm just going to let Councilwoman Harrison. All right. So do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you could all state your names and titles for the record.
Demo Roberts, Director of Public Property.
Amanda Panarelli, Capital Bond Analyst.
Joseph DePina, Chief Operating Officer.
Great. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Please, you've already recognized Deputy Majority Leader Harris, but please let the record reflect that she has joined the meeting. With that, please read item 1 into the record.
Discussion relative to the fiscal year 2021 to 2025 capital improvement plan. The following has been invited. Demo Roberts, Director, Department of Public Property.
Okay, wonderful. We've had quite a discussion on this topic, trying to make sure that these precious dollars are spent wisely, efficiently, and effectively. Demo, tell us how you're doing. You briefed us on each of the projects last time we had you before us, but could you just share what updates you have for us since we last spoke regarding to project status or spending, if you can?
Absolutely. So I think really quickly, so what we have is we have a live link for all to follow to see the active projects. So we're making great strides. Without going through each item line by line, I think the best approach here is for me to just kind of go over each or just state each bucket, meaning department or OPM line, and just see where we are spent-wise percentage. So On the OPM/CM services, we've made great strides. As a matter of fact, I think I want to maybe have Amanda Pontarelli, who's done a lot of work on this, maybe just talk about where we are percentage, if that's okay. Just
Okay.
go
So
ahead.
for OPM services altogether,
Can I just interrupt, folks? I'd like to start with, I'd like to go through the big buckets, arts, culture, Department of Public Works. Just give us a brief overview. I don't need any detail. Just tell us where we're at, bottom line, overspent, underspent, and whether the projects are on time or not. That's where I'd like to start. And then I'm going to end with the OPM discussion, okay?
All right, so, and I'll jump back in here. So all of the projects are on schedule from the last time that we discussed. We have, since the last time we met, Public Works, basically gains are up 10%. Public property, about 156%. We've really been doing a lot of work there. Parks is about 1%. Planning has kind of settled, and ACT about 4%.
Okay. Okay, does my committee have this budget in front of them? Was it, I don't think it got distributed in your packets, but it is online, correct, Tina?
Correct. It is not online. It was sent to them in an email. I can
Okay.
also share the screen if you'd prefer.
Yeah, let's share a screen right now for everybody's edification. And then I'm just going to circle around if any council members, committee members, council members would like to ask any questions relative to, this is the OPM. This is not the CIP.
Is it
Nope.
this one? No?
Nope.
Huh.
Nope.
Check this tab, right? Yep, that's the tab.
It's
That's
We're looking for the FY '22 active CIP balances from Monday. In parens is how it's labeled.
hmm.
I'm going to send it to you right now.
Okay. Because I am not, I don't think to have that one.
Gina, can you send it to Tina, please? I'm on a different computer. I don't have you in here, Gina, Tina.
Okay.
Maybe Gina can share her screen. I don't know if she has it.
I can share mine if you like.
I have it.
Okay.
Can everyone see that?
Great. Okay. So bottom line, Demo, where are we on this? What have we spent? What do we have left to spend in totality?
The total amount, so active projects, I'm just gonna move 1 second here. In arts, culture, and tourism, you know what, Amanda, I'll give you if you want to. Go with that.
We have, in arts, culture and tourism, we've encumbered 1,392,000, and they have a remaining balance of 222,795. And then for public works, we've encumbered 29,485,181.97. They have a remaining balance of about 5.1 million. And for public property, we've encumbered 6.6 million, and we have a remaining balance of about 36.5 million. And for the Parks Department, they've encumbered 3.8 million. They have a remaining balance of 6.7 million. And then for the Planning Department, they've encumbered 4.7 million. They have a remaining balance of about 21 million.
Okay, so let's look at public property on 36 million remaining. What's the holdup on those?
So with public property, $30 million of the funds belongs to the DPW project. We are concluding the demo and going into the phase of design and construction. So that's 30 million. So that's going to take it. That's going to eat that budget right up, bring us down to about 6 million. And then the next would be the City Hall roof project will be about 6.2 or 6.5 million. So two big awards will really kind of encumber all of that. That's the holdup.
Okay, and all of the other projects in that bucket list are moving forward as planned without any hiccups?
Everything is moving according to plan. Yes.
Okay. All right. So park seems to be doing well. And then we have planning. What's going on in planning that they've got 21 million unencumbered?
Well, I think we can see that there's a big Kennedy Plaza project that's happening. I just saw, as a matter of fact, today, an RFP for that project or parts of that project. So those are, I mean, it's early stages, and I think it's the same situation. Once you go ahead and you get the green light to move forward with those projects, they're very big, contracts that will encumber those funds fairly quickly.
Okay. Committee members, any questions for Dima? Tina, you're gonna have to help me. I can't see the screen of anyone who might have their hand up. Committee members, council members, everybody good so far?
No questions, no questions.
Thank you, Councilwoman Anthony. Okay, so what I'd like to ask now is about timing. And this is probably a better question for Mr. Mancini. I understand, I think we're a little delayed on utilizing some of these funds. What are the implications relative to the bond in regards to timing? Are we up against a time constraint? And if so, what is it and what does that mean?
You can unmute yourself, Larry.
Hear you.
Larry, we can't hear you, sir.
Good evening, Madam Chair. I don't believe I was sworn in earlier. Would you allow me
Oh,
to be
let's
sworn
swear him in.
Do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, self you God?
I do.
Please state your name and record.
Lawrence J. Mancini, Chief Financial Officer, City of Providence. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee.
Welcome, Chief.
In regard to your question, Madam Chair, the typical spend down, spend by date is 3 years from the date of the bond issuance. The bond was issued in March, I believe March 24th of 2020. So we are working off of now what would be consistently about 14 months of spend down legal authority to complete that. There may be, in some cases, opportunity for some minor extension of that associated with either contracts that are well within completion and would be completed within a reasonable period thereafter. But in my humble opinion, we would be best advised if the projects would be completed within the next 14 months.
Okay. Madam Auditor, do you have any concerns relative to the timing?
No, Larry, did you say that there may be an extension granted due to COVID? Is that possible?
Well, not for COVID specifically, Madam Auditor, but generally, in the public's best interest, those funds, there may be opportunity for extension if the projects were well underway and were within substantial completion and could be completed within a reasonable period of time, whereas the lack of completion would disturb the bond issue along with bond collateral. I could certainly seek a more definitive opinion from bond counsel. I'm sure they would be happy to give that opinion, but the general rule is spend down and spend complete within 3 years is the general rule. What happens if you don't, if I may, Madam Chair? Then you're required to use the remainder to either offset bond principal, which gives the city no benefit immediately. That would be a long-term benefit. Or in some cases, you could bypass making your next debt service payment with the use of those proceeds if it was close to the payment date. In my opinion, Madam Auditor and Madam Chair, it would be in our best interest to accommodate the spend down. There have been other discussions internally on what other options might exist, and I would defer then to Director Roberts and perhaps the finance team. We could certainly advise the internal auditor, Madam Chair, on some suggestions that have come up over the past month or two as to what other opportunities could we do with not just this bond issue, but if an ancillary bond issue was available by rearranging the way we spend the monies under this bond issue in favor of another bond issue. So we'd have to give that some thought. I'd rather be more specific. I'd rather get a little more information, but the finance department will work mightily with the public property administration and certainly with the internal audit and the council's team to be sure that we will meet the spend down in an orderly fashion.
Okay. Committee members, any questions for Chief Mancini? Council members, anyone? Okay,
No,
let's flip
thank you.
over now. Councilwoman Anthony?
I was just saying, no, thank you.
Okay, sorry. Can't see your little hand tonight, Councilwoman. I'm gonna be looking for that. So let's now begin the discussion on the OPM, which is, as you know, a hot topic for me, and I'm anxious to understand. Last time we spoke, one of the items we spoke about was on seeing if we could reprogram some of the OPM dollars because there was a delay in much of the project work. The original line item, as everybody knows, is about $8.5 million. I just asked for a summary. Tina has that. That was the first budget, Tina, that you put in front of the committee's eyes. And I'm going to ask, as soon as I stop talking, I'm going to ask if you could put that up because I would like to go into this budget line by line to see what is being spent. But before we have that presentation, I'd like to just lay a little bit more groundwork for the benefit of my committee. The history of the OPM on this project, that line item was all about hiring a project manager to oversight all of the CIP project work. And the reason that the council put that in, quite honestly, is because we were very concerned about economies of scale, efficiencies, reporting, accountability. We weren't getting the data that we wanted promptly and efficiently. That being said, I think Demo has done a wonderful job and he has worked very closely and provided all of the answers to our internal auditor upon request, and he's also been extremely responsive to me. However, I cannot just overlook the fact that when we approved this budget, the intention of the council was an OPM, one oversight authority to perform. I took the liberty of looking back at some of the things that we talked about, and we talked about an OPM, would be make sure that the deliverables were on time, on price, that the projects that we had presented were actually implemented as we had planned them or expected, to manage and lead and minister the resources, these precious resources that the city is borrowing to get critical infrastructure work done, make improvements, suggest corrective action, make sure the projects are running along smoothly, brief the council at various points. If there's overspend, underspend, we want to know where it is, what's happening with the dollars. And it's not just the council, it's the general public. So there's a hefty responsibility for accountability and, managing the projects, partnering, making sure that, if we're buying cement for public properties and we need cement in the Parks Department, that, the contracts are scaled to accomplish, to be as efficient as possible. We talked about cost benefit analysis, financial analysis, financial management, project management, quality management, whole boatload of things were part of our discussion. That's why the council voted to have a project manager, and most importantly, to keep the projects on time, on schedule, on budget, and make sure that everybody knew what was happening along the way. What we have now, and it's no fault of yours, Demo, because since you showed up, we've come leaps and bounds and we've moved forward very, very quickly. And that is your credit. And we've lost a lot of people in the job before you. I think you've had 6 folks that came before you, at least in my tenure. So here we are now. And at the last meeting, I said, what are we doing with this OPM? As a matter of fact, for the last few meetings, I've asked the same thing over and over again. I got this budget before the meeting, which Tina's going to pop up before we begin our discussion. And the budget I see a spend for the PPBA of $668,000 spent on 12/13/21, and there's a remaining budget of 2.3. So there's basically about $3 million of this allocation all of a sudden now is getting charged to the or reserved for the PPBA. So that's my broad overview of questions on this topic. Tina, why don't you put the budget up, and I'm going to ask the chief, Mr. DePina or Demo, to walk through this, whoever wants to do that, and tell us what you were doing with the OPM dollars, $8.5 million. And again, it was always the intention of the council to have one oversight authority similar to the school department, the way they bonded their projects, and that was the goal. That's not what we have before us. That's not what has been happening. And that's why I asked for the accounting, and that's why we're here tonight having this discussion. So please, who from the administration would like to explain what you're doing with the OPM?
All right, good evening, Madam Chair. I'm going to defer to Director Roberts on that, but I just wanted to, again, reintroduce myself to the group. I've come before you one other time since I left the school department and came over to the mayor's office. And I have full confidence in Mr. Roberts' ability to convey or answer the questions that you've provided. So I'll just turn it over to Demo at this point. Thank you.
Yes. So yeah, this line item, it is for OPM CM services and professional oversight. If you're comparing this to the schools, I think I've said this before on other meetings, it's very easy to get one OPM to do what we're calling vertical construction. So if it's one school or 20 schools, the work is basically the same. You may have a roof, building, electrical, sprinklers, and things like that. That is vertical construction. So it's easy to get one firm to go ahead and take care of multiple projects and be effective. But that's just schools. When we look at the general CIP, there are different disciplines and different departments. So someone that's an expert in vertical construction may not know much about the arts. So, or sewers or road construction. So what the thought process is and what we've been doing here is to say, each department has an allocation that all adds up to be the total spend of the CIP. So there's a percentage of each. With the help of the PPBA and every department, we had a working group to then say, how is it fair for each group to have the proper oversight? So public property can spend this money easily based on our projects, very, very easily, because we can use it. But how do we make sure ACT, DPW, and other departments get the proper oversight is by looking at this fund and breaking it up based on the percentage of projects, then to say you have, this percent of oversight so that, it's fair enough. So that's exactly what we did. The OPM that's going to do vertical construction will have no idea what to do with the arts. How to, if you're going to do, say, the DPW complex, how do you explain or really be efficient on, putting artwork on canvases? So the thought process is that we allocate this money. We can go ahead and draw down accordingly for each department. But Madam Chair, everything you said, transparency, reporting, and all of that, we've worked out the mechanism that we are on it. We're making sure goods and services are being looked at. So collectively, we'll get the collective information that will funnel through my department, and then it will get published to everyone, the city council, the PPBA, the administration, and the constituents of the city. So I think we're in a very good place. We have accounting of every single dollar that's spent, contracts, and there are different reasons why we need to break it down this way. We do have a OPM. I know we've talked about this before. We have internal project managers that we've hired to help these projects move forward. For vertical construction, we do have an OPM to take care of certain big buildings. But then also, when you get into Kennedy Plaza, you're going to need specialized engineering that's just not typical of what you would do, say, at a DPW complex. So we do have all of this tracked. We worked hand in hand with the PPBA. As a matter of fact, we had a working session back on April 26th with the PPBA, Bill Marchetti specifically, and also every other department. And collectively, we all agree that this was the best path and it made sense. But we are showing you exactly what we're doing for all to see.
You're showing us exactly what you were doing now. You didn't show us all along when we've been asking for it. So I'm disappointed that we now have this presentation, Demo, honestly. But let's go through it. I want to see how you're spending for each of these buckets, please.
You want to jump in on this, Amanda?
Sure. So we'll start with the top, the Parks Department. The amount awarded was $996,088, and their allocation of the 8.5 million was determined to be 18.11%. And they're using it for consulting and design services for the parks.
Who made that allocation? How'd you decide that they were going to get 18%?
So this is based on the percentage of what they have out of the total CIP. So it mirrors.
So it's a percentage of the total dollars that they were allocated.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And that
All right,
goes.
so all of these folks here, RPM Consulting, Narragansett Engineering, Wood Environmental. So these are all RFPs that went out?
Yes.
When did those RFPs go
out? We can look for dates. I don't have that in front of me. Or piggyback.
Please provide that information to the auditor.
Sure.
Okay, let's look at the next one.
Okay, the public property was the amount awarded out of the OPM services is 956,317. That allocation is 17.39% of the total OPM. And that we have a blanket contract for OPM services and then our staff here.
And that is the budget, not what was spent. Is that correct? Or is that what is spent down?
Yeah, that is what's encumbered so far.
Okay, so there's quite a bit of money encumbered and we've got $36 million still outstanding, right?
Yes. So, I mean, the last few meetings that we had, I think the push was to make sure that we have all of these things lined up, and by spring, we're ready to move forward. So we have the breakdown from when we talked last. I know we had several meetings, and Madam Chair, I know you were concerned about, and we're not just doing this just to do it. We have the reason, and I think I've conveyed that we are in the process. We're gearing ourselves up. We have new staff, turnaround, and this is where we were heading. So the goal was to have this pretty encumbered before the spring, so we have boots on the ground, so that we can hit these projects by April instead of a June, July date, to be able to basically handle the influx of contracts that we're agreeing to.
Okay, I see a couple of hands up, committee members. Anthony, I think I saw yours first.
Thank you so much, Madam Chairwoman. Demo, thank you. Things seem to be a little better on track, but my question.
You're muted, Councilwoman Anthony.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
We
Okay,
can.
so my question, sorry. So my question is on the first for the top of the, I'm so sorry, I'm having trouble getting back to the screen now, but it seems to me that some of this money, it looks like for design services and things like that, that's not quite oversight, is it?
Yeah, so I mean, certain things that you can't do, in-house, there are specialized things that each company could do. So this will help as design and then looking over the rest of the project. I'm also using similar service to manage the project, but to actually convey exactly what you're talking about. So if you have the ability to do both, it actually really helps you out when you can go ahead and make sure the projects are on time. You can also make sure that, RFIs can be specific in the form of design and other things like that. It just gets to be a lot creative to be able to drive these things home.
Okay, I'm just trying to get the balance between, if we had allocated these funds for oversight. And so I think what you're saying is some of that oversight comes in the form of design of services, and then they design it and then oversee it.
Yeah, partially. So I'll skip down. We have a award to Studio Jade, for example. They have construction management services, but we also benefit in the fact that they can design as well too. So if you have an RFI and a request for information, you're looking for something specific, you want to drill down on it, certainly they can oversee all of that, but then ask the question in the form of, this is it in the photo, this is it in the picture, this is exactly what we're looking for. So we have that flexibility in some cases.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Councilman Narducci. You
Thank
are
you,
muted,
Madam-
sir. Great.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So if I'm looking at this right, then these funds are only for engineering and designing work and consultant work. And then you look at public property, and I'm seeing project manager salary and fringe benefits for 2 years, capital bond analysis, physical agent salary and benefits for 2 years. Exactly what is that, Demo?
Yep, great question. So with this, for example, Amanda Pontarelli that we have here, we have millions and millions of dollars, and we're managing these things. So internally, she's the one that's pulling these numbers together. So part of it is the oversight. So we can have this and just have people doing the construction work, but overall, somebody like Amanda is looking at the entire CIP from every department. They are running. So all of these things, a lot of these things that you're seeing, Amanda is putting in some of the numbers for them. So if, as you know, requests for payments are coming in, looking at where we are balance wise, you know, in the accounts, you need somebody like that to really look at it, or else you're never going to have the up-to-date accounting, at least from my level, day to day. So I don't want to speak for, you know, my predecessors or what happened in the past, but, you know, just being here, knowing that if you have millions and millions of dollars, you need someone to be there to kind of orchestrate how the payments are going. What we didn't want to do is have each department go rogue on just spending and not knowing, and then we chasing the information. For example, parks, what are you doing? Are you talking directly to us? Amanda is now commanding that this is how things should go. We're looking at balances, and we can have this information like this up for you today. In, you know, if you call on us in the matter of hours, we can have information like this. This is all real time versus looking for exactly where we are and trying to reconcile payments. So that's just one example of the entire oversight. The part of the project management is managing the funds and things like that.
So if I may, Madam Chair, just
Please continue.
so if I understood what you said earlier, a lot of our projects went uncompleted this year, including streets, sidewalks, and so on. We were told that the bids got in too late when we knew we had this money, over a year and a half ago, maybe even close to 2 years ago. How is that going to, is this system going to better that? Are our projects from this year that have not been completed, and I guess I'm going back to the SIP funding, have not been completed, are they going to get completed this year? Are they going to be first to be completed?
Yeah, so that's the goal. I've been on several meetings now and saying what we're trying to do here is make sure that the management and the oversight is ready to go, so that we're not trying to do things and scramble and go through contracts later on. The goal is to do it now. Right now, you can't do roads and sidewalks. Really, it's getting really cold. So now
you can't get the bids out there.
Yeah, you get everything together. You have the management aspect. Now, when you get management as well, too, you're not just going to get management, they're going to run with it. Sometimes you have to give them situational awareness, let them know where they're going, on board, and go from there. So if we do it now, in one of these tabs, you can see the increase from the last meeting or two that we've had. We're really ramping it up. And this is what I spoke on to say, you know, when springtime comes, we're ready to go in April, May, June. We're in full. We have 2 or 3 months instead of scrambling to do this, you know, in June or July with a short construction window. So the goal really is to have all of this, give us all the tools. DPW is saying that, listen, we're overwhelmed and we have a handful of people trying to manage this. You're right. We have this fund here. I mean, so we're trying to utilize this to put them in the right position to go ahead and hit the ground running when the spring comes. So handle every contract when they come in. So that's the goal. I'm going to add one more thing though. As we're doing this, that's the goal. We are also competing against other cities and towns. A lot of cities and towns are using similar contractors. You know, there's only so much to go around. So we're thinking if we can get in there early and contract them, they put you on their schedule. So if we come later on and their schedule is full through April, May, and part of June, well, we just have to wait. It doesn't matter how much management you have to wait and sit on it. So doing all of this, if we have contracts and we're on the schedule for April and May, then we're in really good shape. That's what we're trying to do.
Thank you, Demo. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Continue, please.
Okay, so we're on Public Works, and they get $2.2 million of the OPM funds, which comes to 40.32%. And they're gonna be encumbering it soon come the spring, like Demo said. And then the planning department gets 1.2 million allocated, and that's 22.85% of the OPM funds.
And just to add to that too, I have a draft RFP here looking for that service. I received it probably about 2 hours ago, and just looking at the scope is really going to draw down on a lot of that money. So all of these things, it may not show here right now, but every day that goes by, we're working on these services.
Okay, well, I'm not thrilled to spend the money. I want to make sure the money is spent well, and as it was intended. Okay, I want to talk about the PPBA, $3 million. When did that emerge? And what is that all about?
So this was established before I got here. So you have Bill Marchetti, which is the OPM. When we go through the payments and we provide requisitions, Bill Marchetti is the one that will take a look at, where we are payment wise and checks and balances. So as you know, we project manage these projects, and then they look at, oversight on spend on these bonds. So I know that his salary comes out of there. There are other expenses for administrative work that comes out of there, and then more. I don't know if you could speak on that more.
And I believe it comes to 2.3% of the total CIP fund, not just the OPM fund, but all the projects.
Madam Auditor, do you have any questions regarding the PPPA, $3 million? Actually, you know what, Madam Auditor, just hold on one second. I see Larry would, Chief Mancini would like to speak. Why don't we hear from you on that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I may provide some history. So, Madam Chair, up until 3 years ago, the general fund made an annual appropriation to the Public Building Authority that equaled $225,000 annually. As part of the CIP, and given the fact that we were the beneficiaries of significant bond premium and had the dollars available to do just about everything in the first 2 years of the 5-year CIP plan, we had negotiated to the best interest of the city general fund that we would bypass and now eliminate annual contributions by the general fund to the Public Building Authority. But in order to do that, it would have to be made up with the CIP funds. So that would be approximately $225,000 over a 3-year period, the life of the bond spend. That would bring into consideration about $675,000. And what did that $225,000 do annually? On an annual basis, that $225,000 paid for the administrative expenses of the Public Building Authority. That included their audit fees, their legal fees, outside legal counsel, and various and assorted bond insurance, insurance on certain public property buildings. And it generally covered the bulk of their operation prior to the expansion of the operation. From the time the CIP was approved, it's been known that the Public Building Authority hired Mr. Marchetti, hired an assistant, brought in a construction attorney firm, a legal firm, was looking to do some, I believe, some public relations as well. So their budget is submitted to finance, and Ms. Silveria, who is not with us this evening, would and I would review that. And we would allocate on a semi-annual basis transfer payments that we would authorize the trustee to transfer to the Public Building Authority to cover the typical monthly administrative expenses or annual expenses, along with the new set of expenses created by the employment of Mr. Marchetti, and of course, the related expenses. So in that regard, Madam Chair, that $3 million, while it's not arbitrary, it was set on the course that over a 3-year period, there would be a spend that we could document for administrative expenses. What is not spent, or what will what will go unspent will be returned back to the general portfolio and could be utilized at that time for any other worthy project, or in fact to pay down debt service or pay down debt principal. But we've been monitoring it. I'm pleased that Ms. Silveria monitored it with Mr. Salvatore, who is internal counsel to the Public Building Authority. He and Mr. Marchetti has prepared budgets. We've looked at them. They were reasonable in their presentation, and it's drawn on a once every 6 month basis, as was the practice always. But I wanted to remind the committee that the general fund no longer transfers that $225,000 annually to help them with their appropriation.
Thank you, Chief. Councilwoman Anthony.
Yes, thank you very much. That's a big sum. And while I certainly appreciate the oversight from Mr. Mancini, who I have great faith in, I'd like to see a breakdown of that. I mean, I just can't imagine what that is, particularly the remaining, even though we've just had this explanation. I think we should look at a breakdown of that.
We can do that. We can, Councilwoman and Madam Chair, we can make available nearly immediately to the internal auditor the submission by the Public Building Authority, their request for funding annually, and how much has been transferred thus far since the bond has been created, and what the current annual appropriation or transfer amount is. We can do that.
Thank you. Are you all set, Councilwoman Anthony?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Madam Auditor.
Hi, two questions, Larry. I think this would be directed to you. One other fee we used to pay was to Mark. He can't even pronounce his last name. We paid an outside company to do the tracking, such as Amanda is doing, and we used to get those updates.
That is
So,
correct.
okay, so is that going to the PBBA?
Previously, Mr. Zawadzki with a firm called Coast and Harbor was the hired OPM of the Public Building Authority for the projects that they managed at that time. Many of them were with the first CIP that we did. That's now done predominantly in-house. That's what Mr. Marchetti does. Mr. Marchetti and the team that he has.
Okay. And this question is for Demo. The breakdown that is paid to PBBA, is that in Monday? Is that something I could just extract?
Do we have all the receipts in there yet?
Don't think it's in Monday, but I have it.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Auditor. So my concerns on this whole budget is, it's just appearing to me. This committee has raised questions about the OPM. I think we've been very vocal. And just looking at it tonight, I'm looking at, salaries. I'm looking at design work. In my mind, and also this $3 million for the PPBA. I've never heard of it. I never knew that was a component of it. Again, I'm just seeing it. I do think it's very rich. And quite frankly, we have crumbling streets. We have a crumbling sewer system. We have projects that have laid idle, stale for months and months. The only thing that lit a fire under these projects was this council finance committee asking what is being done and asking for work to move forward on this. We asked about the OPM and why an OPM oversight authority wasn't brought on and hired. And we quite honestly felt that oversight might help move some of these projects along. So now what we have tonight is a nice big budget on trying to spend down the OPM dollars. That's $8.5 million. That's a lot of money. And when I'm looking at some of these line items that have been called out, to me, it appears that the CIP budget that was put before us was not calculated correctly. The provisions for the projects clearly wasn't enough to get the job done, because what you had to do was go out and use the OPM dollars to hire consultants and design experts and pay for salaries and other items in order to get the work done or the projects done and hopefully move them along. So to me, I question whether the expenditure on the OPM is legal, is appropriate. I want to know the timeline on it. I'm going to ask that the solicitor, I'm going to ask Demo or Mr. DePina. I'd like to see the RFPs issued on every single line item here presented before us tonight. I want to know the timing of when they emerged, the expenses emerged, and I'm asking the solicitor to provide an opinion to this body to ensure that the expenditures as presented here are appropriate in conformance with the bond documentation, and in compliance with the intentions of the Council for OPM services. That's all I have. Committee members, Councilwoman Anthony, your little hand is up. Do you want to weigh in or are you okay?
Sorry, no, I'm sure your concerns and I'm sorry, I forgot to put my hand down.
Okay. So to me, it seems like these projects that were presented were not priced right. And you're using the OPM dollars to backfill some of the holes. And that is not in keeping with the intention of the council body, the finance committee that approved these programs, these funds. And we just need to understand how these dollars are being spent. Okay, I've said enough. Any committee members, council members, any final thoughts on this topic?
Yes, I do have a question, Chairwoman.
Councilman Vargas.
This question is for Demo. Demo, what's something that catch me was you saying that to do the projects before and to get the bidding before so we can have a space for the contracts to do our job. How come you have only one contract? We don't have no more contracts we can bid out of the job? I see a lot of people looking for big contracts, or we only have one contract that do work for the city.
One contractor?
Yeah, because you say that you only have one contract, that he has more contracts with another cities.
No,
So if this particular contract has more jobs with another cities, how come we giving him more work that he's not going to be able to handle it?
No, I guess, let me just clarify. So what I was saying is we're going to move forward, and we've been moving forward to get contracts signed early in the springtime so we can go ahead and do these projects. I just wanted to clarify that there are only so many contractors throughout the state and neighboring towns that can do certain things. So for example, for road construction, you have so many contractors that are filling up their calendars to do work. So the earlier you get there, the more the chance you have to get more work done. So it's not one contractor. There are numerous contractors. Nowadays, as you can see, there's work shortages and there's a lot of work going on. There's a lot of cash out there. It's not only Providence that's doing work, Pawtucket, neighboring towns, the entire state and states around us. So I just say this. So for example, Cardi Construction may have contracts, not just with Providence. They're trying to fill up their calendar. So whoever comes first may have their calendars filled out. So if we wait long enough, Pawtucket, Cranston, and others could have their calendars filled out before us. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. But if they're bidding for the job, they should give you a timeline.
We do.
Okay, we want to get this contract and we're going to be finishing in 3 months or 6 months. That's what we're looking for, a timeline. Like,
so they do. What I'm saying is the issue is that if they are filled, and again, we're trying to get ahead of it. If you have one contractor that their calendar is filled through April, May, and June, they will get you, but they will say their timeline starts in July. We don't want to do that. We want to have every contractor working for us in April instead of June or July. I'm just putting it out there just so we all know that for each discipline, there are X amount of contractors that are available and that qualifies to do this work. That's all I wanted to say.
Great answer. We might have to work with the state then. we might have to go out of state if somebody doesn't, they don't want to pick up the job. But thank you very much for your answer.
Sure. And we do that as well. We, we cast a net and we will get, whomever that can do the job that's qualified.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I see Councilwoman Miller has joined us. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you earlier. Please let the record reflect her presence.
So noted.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Demo. Thank you, Mr. DePina. Thank you for your answers to our questions. I do want to do some follow-up on this. We'll continue to look at it, okay? And thank you very much for being here this evening.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So we've got quite a few.
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes.
I'm so sorry. This is Helen Anthony. I am so sorry. I have to drop off to go to another meeting.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we still have quorum?
We do.
Yes, we do. Okay. All right, so we're going to do the appointments now, and I want to thank everyone for your patience. I think what I'd like to do is get everybody sworn in that is on the docket for appointment this evening at one time. Is that possible, Madam Clerk?
It is possible. If I can have all the appointees turn their cameras on so that we can see them. They're coming.
Wow.
Couple more. Mr. Nunez? There he is. All right, if I can have all the appointees, please raise your right hand. Do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, everyone. So we're going to go from right from the top. So item number 2, Madam Clerk, please read item 2 into the record.
Communication from His Honor the Mayor dated January 1st, 2022, informing the honorable members of the City Council that pursuant to sections 302B and 701 of the Providence Home Rule Charter of 1980, as amended and public law, Chapter 45-50, Sections 1 through 31, passed in 1987, he is this day reappointing Travis Escobar of 44 Sycamore Street, 1F, Providence, Rhode Island, 02909, as a member of the Providence School Board for a term to expire on January 31st, 2025, and respectfully submits the same for your approval.
Great. Mr. Escobar.
Hello, good evening, Chairwoman.
Could I just ask if you're not on, Tina, can you help me out here so that we just have Mr. Escobar? Oh, thank you.
Sure. For the appointees, if you could just please turn your cameras and mute yourselves. And when we call on you, please turn your camera back on. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So we're on Mr. Escobar. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you for being here. Please tell us a little bit about yourself. This is a reappointment to the Providence School Board. Talk to us about your why you want to be reappointed, what your experience is. Share us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so good evening, Chairwoman Ryan and members of the Finance Committee. So I am a lifelong resident of Providence. Grew up in the south side of Providence specifically. As was read off, I'm currently a resident of the West End. Right now, I work at Fidelity Investments, a manager of community relations, where I help connect nonprofits to the corporation, but also do a lot of financial literacy programming for K through 12 youth and other community engagement activities. Beforehand, I spent 5 years at United Way of Rhode Island, where I did public policy efforts around affordable housing and after school and summer learning programming. Quite recently helped with the $65 million bond campaign and the special election for 2021 in March. I'm the first in my family to graduate high school and college, so I think that creates a little bit of a backstory of why I believe why education is so important to me and why I want to see Providence's education system improve. In my first term of the Providence School Board, a lot has happened. When I entered in, one of the conversations that happened was the school takeover, and basically the evolution of the school board and its powers being more of an advisory aspect, along with the ongoing pandemic that has been such a negative impact on everyone, but especially with our students and parents, especially at this time. So my experience in the school board is definitely a whole lot different than I think a lot of members that have had longer terms than me, or even individuals that are newer, because I've seen quite the evolution. And why I wanted to continue serving on the school board is I think that it is important to have a continuation of members during this takeover process. I was never a fan of the takeover. Still currently, and I've been very public about that. And I believe that, this is not a great governance structure for our youth that we're looking to serve. And my hope is to serve in the school board and sort of be an advocate to what is the right pathway to bring our education system back into the city. And I think the state can be very helpful, but I think we could work in terms of more of a partnership with the state instead of an aspect of where we're at right now. On other topics that I'm really interested in with the school board, I'll be, if reappointed, I'll be the co-chair of the policy committee for the school board. I really want to work to diversify our education workforce. Our students are primarily youth of color. And I think it's really important that we increase our educators of color within the school system, whether that's supporting programs that get TAs within our school system, a pathway to become certified as teachers, whether that's programs that we have currently with the Round Foundation to provide student loan forgiveness for educators of colors in terms of like an HR benefit in terms of recruitment strategy, working with our teachers union, and maybe even looking to get just more state investment, whether that's bringing educators from outside of our state or looking to grow homegrown individuals here in Providence, Rhode Island. I think that's a big significant piece of how we can sort of improve our education system. Along with that, we all are well aware that our buildings and the state of our school buildings. I want to improve the human capital that exists within our school system, but also that actual infrastructure of our buildings, and we're well aware of the state of where that is. So whether that's finding investments, continuing investments within the state, I know Treasurer Magaziner and other reps are introducing another school bond, but also holding accountability to the current projects that are going on right now in terms of that they're equitable and that we actually have a timely manner of improving the school buildings that we have. Those are the issues that sort of come top of mind. I would also say really putting the school board more out there in the community and making sure that our youth, our parents, teachers, just Providence residents in general know that they come to the school board and either have their concerns met with the superintendent who sits on the board meeting and uses the school board as sort of advocates for them, but also just learn about what's going on in their education system. There's a lot of great information that come across the school board. I think it's really important for our communities. So those are the things that come really top of mind, and I would be really honored to continue serving on the school board and to have the support of the city council. Actually, one last thing that I would love to also continue to work on is have a cohesive legislative agenda between the school board, the city council, and the mayoral administration. I know that between entities, there could be disagreements on certain policies, but I really believe there's a lot between education policy and how we want to serve our students. I think there's a lot more agreements than not. And I think having those entities come together and work with our Providence delegation, the General Assembly, to really, look to get either more funding or policy changes for our students, I think that could be very helpful as well. So that's one of the things I would love to work on if reappointed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Narducci.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Travis, I'm glad to hear you say about how you did not support the takeover of the state. That was the worst political decision made by this administration, was to give it up our school systems. As you know, it failed many of our students. Grades and so on are worse than they've been in the past when we had control of the school system. We do have, I'm proud to say that me and my colleagues have signed a bond of $600 million moving forward to redo our schools, including my school, Windmill Street School. And I think what I'd like to see with the school committee, you guys have your meetings at Westminster Street, which is more tougher than parking at City Hall can be. What I'd like to see, I've been saying it for the last few years, but it's let me say it my way, falling on deaf ears, is to have you guys come to 1 month Isaac Hopkins School, another month, come out into the schools, have your meetings in the schools where parents can. It'd be easier for a lot of parents to make it, number one, and number two, to have community involvement. If you want community involvement, the only way you're going to get it is to come out into the community. And Madam Chair, this way here I can make one general statement, if you don't mind. I will not be voting for any of the 3 school board members when it comes before the council, because I do not support an elected school board. Does not mean I will not do my due diligence in supporting the members moving forward as far as what we need to do for our students and for the schools in our city. And I just want to be clear on that and let you guys know that, so I don't look like a hypocrite here supporting you tonight and welcoming you as a board and commending the job that you've done. And then you see me on the council floor voting against you. I just want to make that kind of clear, if that sounds understandable. But Travis, again, I want to thank you for what you've done and your continued commitment to the students of the city of Providence. And it's great to know that you've been through the school systems, and public school systems here in Providence. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Committee members, council members, any questions for Mr. Escobar? Councilman Vargas, you're all set? Councilman Vargas?
Yes, thank you very much, Travis Escobar, for taking this lead. And I know him, and I congratulate him, because it's not an easy task. And I am with Councilman Narducci about that. That's a great idea if you guys can have those meetings in several areas, like different schools, so the parents can know your school board members and have a great relationship. Because I know when you have the meetings, you invite the parents, but it's weird when they go, there's barely one person goes in it. But that's a great idea, Councilman Narducci, to see if they can do the meetings in different areas and see what's going on. Congrats, Travis. You're doing a great job, so keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Escobar, thank you very much for coming before us. Thank you for your service to the city of Providence. Your name appears very often, and it's always behind a next to a cause that is important and significant to the families, to working families in the city of Providence. I applaud your initiative, your effort, and your compassion. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion to recommend approval of Mr. Escobar for his reappointment to the school board. Motion made by Vice Chair Castillo, seconded by
Second motion.
Councilman Narducci. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Mr. Escobar, you are going to go to the full council. I would suggest that you continue to reach out to council people and introduce yourself if you don't already know them. But your appointment will go to the full council for a vote, and I wish you well.
Thank you so much, Chairwoman Ryan, and thank you everyone on the Finance Committee. We'll see you again. Have a good night.
Good night. Good evening. Okay, Madam Clerk, please read the third item into the record.
Communication from His Honor the Mayor dated January 1st, 2022, informing the honorable members of the City Council that pursuant to Section 302B and 701 of the Providence Home Rule Charter of 1980 as amended in Public Law, Chapter 45-50, Sections 1 through 31, passed in 1987, he is this day reappointing Tyrell Stevens of 38 Anthony Avenue, Providence, Rhode Island 02907, as a member of the Providence School Board for term to expire on January 31st, 2025, and respectfully submits the same for your approval.
Wonderful. Mr. Stevens, welcome.
How are you, Councilman? Councilwoman, oh, my apologies.
Never better, thank you.
Really,
So, Mr.
really
Stevens,
quick,
can you,
my address changed. My address changed, if I could.
Okay.
It's
What's your address?
It's 37 Longfellow Terrace, 02907.
Okay, so do we need to amend anything? Did we get a corrected appointment letter?
Yes, so if we can make a motion to amend that, I'll reach out to the mayor's office and get a corrected letter for the council meeting.
Okay, may I have a motion to amend the letter to reflect this gentleman's new address of 37 Longfellow Terrace? Motion made by Vice Chair Castillo, seconded by Councilman Narducci. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. We're good. Okay, Mr. Stevens, tell us about yourself. This is a reappointment, so you're familiar with the challenges of the school board and the important work that you do. Tell us why you're passionate about it. Tell us why you want to be reappointed and what you've done and what you're going to do.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you, Councilwoman Chairman, and all of the council members on today. So my name is Tyrell Stevens. I am up for reappointment for the City Council, for the Providence School Board. And it's just an honor. Born and raised here.
Be a city council, it's okay.
Born and raised here in the city of Providence, went through the system. Honestly, it's been an honor to be on the Providence School Board. I may say that there has been challenges. We need to just make sure that we continue to have transparency. We need to continue to make sure we communicate. We need to continue to make sure that we advocate for our students and staff members. I know that it's been challenging. You see the school department on the news almost every day. And I think one of the main things we need to do is build transparency, bring in people that we truly know cares about the community and cares about our students. I may say, I know you guys said that I know Councilman Narducci said that he would like for us to go out into like the different schools, and that's what we've done. The only thing is, and I've been advocating for this, is we need to make sure we do a good job promoting that we're going to the schools. And then not only that, we have a large population of Hispanics, of people that don't speak English. So we need to be able to translate that so our parents can then come to the schools and advocate for their students and their kids that they may have. So I think it's more about communicating it, making sure that it gets to the parents, that we're out in these schools, that we are having school board meetings so they can advocate. Not only that, I think another challenge that we face it's just the lack of youth input. A lot of students continue to tell me, because I've done, since I've been on the board, I visit so many schools. And one thing I find, because I'm the youngest school board member, students feel comfortable with sharing their information with me. And I thank God for that. And I think that it's a gift. I believe that it's a gift, but I truly appreciate that. But the students let me know we don't have a voice. We feel like we're not being heard. So my job as the youngest school board member is to take that to the board and ensure that they're being heard, ensure that they have a voice, ensure that they are being heard, they have a voice, and what they say matter. I know tomorrow I have a meeting at Central High School because students was complaining about their lunches. So we're going to be meeting with Sodexo tomorrow. It's about implementing it. It's not about sitting back. Yes, we're board members, and yes, it's not our full-time job, but it's all about ensuring that our students are being heard, ensuring that their voice is being heard. I know I was the youngest school board member, and now we have 2 other members that are young for the school board that are up for appointment on today. So that's something that I want. I want the young people's voice to be validated. I want the young people's voice to feel as if, the young people to feel as if they have a voice and what they say matter. That's why I'm here, to give the young people hope. But like I said, I was born and raised, I went through the system. I make a lot of people mad in the school department because I understand the system. Yes, you guys may have the degrees. Yes, you guys may be educated in it, but I'm from Providence. I grew up in the system, and I know the issues that are within Providence, so I can speak to it in a way that you can't. And I think that's what gets a lot of them mad. They say, oh, Tyra, you're ruffling feathers, but that's what I'm here for. As it pertains to the state takeover, I'm trying to have hope for it because it seems as if we don't have any other options right now. I want to give a little bit of leeway due to COVID, but it just doesn't look good for me right now. It feels as if there's no transparency. I have to be honest with the council on today. Feels as if there's no transparency, no sustainability, and that's something that we need to build. There's no guarantee whether the superintendent's going to stay. Then I'm thinking long term, if I get reappointed and then a new governor comes in, they could get rid of the commissioner and the superintendent and then start something new all over again, which is going to be crazy. So I think that, like Travis said, the council needs to work together with the school board, and we need to work with you guys and the mayor's office to see how we can build sustainability within the school department and within central office in general. But like I said, I'm trying my hardest. I'm trying to continue to advocate for our young people. I'm trying to ensure that everyone has a voice, teachers, staff members, and young people, so I can bring that to the table. That's the reason why I'm always visiting schools. I'm all about action. I don't want to talk about it. I want to be about it. So I want to go to all of the different schools and engage with the students. I don't want to call any of my board members out, but I've been to schools and administrators and teachers and students. Oh, we've never seen board members at the schools. We've never seen it. So we're so happy. So I'm happy that I'm trying to start something from a new lens and let other people know that, yes, the board is here. Yes, we're here to support you. And yes, you are being heard. So I think that's something. And I know one of my final thing I'll say is one of kind of what I'm trying to start is having a board meeting where me as an individual board member invite the community there, and they're able to share their concerns with me, and I'm able to bring that to the superintendent's office. But like I said, I'm thankful and grateful to be here before the board on today. And yes, just honored to be here.
Wonderful. All good thoughts. Majority Leader Harris.
I want to say that is the most passionate young man that I have met in years. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Good thought, good input. Mr. Stevens, we're all very impressed. Well said, good remarks, and your enthusiasm is greatly appreciated. Committee members, any questions for Mr. Stevens? Thoughts? Council members? May I entertain a motion to recommend approval? Motion made by Councilwoman Castillo, seconded by Councilman Narducci. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Mr. Stevens, you're approved to go to the full council for final approval. We thank you very much for your service to the city of Providence.
Thank
And
you.
really, your enthusiasm is what we all need. And we thank you for your hard work.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Okay,
Madam Chair,
yes.
can I just clarify that the motion was to approve as amended?
Yes, let's clarify. On Councilwoman Castillo, your motion was made as amended, motion to approve as amended, correct?
Yes.
And Councilman Narducci?
Yes.
Second as amended. All
Yes,
in
ma'am.
favor, aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Ayes have it. We did that twice. Okay.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, item 4, Madam Clerk.
Communication
You're
from
having
His Honor the
fun,
Mayor
Councilman.
dated January 1st, 2022, informing the honorable members of the City Council that pursuant to sections 302B and 701 of the Providence Home Rule Charter of 1980, as amended in public law, Chapter 45-50, Sections 1 through 31, passed in 1987, he is to stay appointing Knight Jean Muingabo of 503 Elmwood Avenue, Providence, Rhode Island, 02907, as a member of the Providence School Board for a term to expire on January 31st, 2025, and respectfully submits the same for your approval.
Okay. Mr. Muingabo, are you with us?
Yes,
Hello, welcome. Welcome to the Committee on Finance.
thank you, Madam Chairwoman and the Finance Committee. My name is Knight. I'm a refugee from Congo, and I was born and raised in the refugee camp for 15 years. In 2015, me and my family, we came in Rhode Island when we were given asylum. I worked way hard in high school. I learned English in 2 years and graduated with full scholarship to attend Rhode Island College, where I'm studying public administration. Currently at RIC, I'm the president of the Black Student Union, and also I work at the United Nations Higher Commission for Refugees as a young champion for education. I also volunteer at the Refugee Dream Center as a coordinator of the Refugee Youth Dream Program, where I coordinate PPSD youth, about 30 PPSD youth. I help them apply for scholarship, SAT preparation, college application, college interview, and leadership workshop. And in 2018, I helped about 6 youth receive $500,000 in scholarship. In 2019, when the John Hopkins report came out, the former superintendent created the PPSD Community Advisory Board. I joined and applied. I started representing Hope High School. I wanted to participate and to be part of the solution in my community. I helped and worked with graduating senior at Hope High School, worked with teachers, and worked with Hope High School to help them build the bridges with the refugee community. I've been experienced working with refugee, with American youth and refugee youth as a mentor. I'm also part of Plan International USA, where I advocate for youth around the world. As member of the Youth Advisory, I helped the organization build a youth leadership program in Washington, D.C., Rwanda, and Nigeria. Working with youth in the program for more than 3 years, I had the opportunity to meet with refugee youth parents. And they indicate to me that they wish and they want to be involved in the kid education, but they can't because of the language barrier. I believe that educated languages services for both parents and students should be provided so that they could be more engaged in their education. As a board member, I will work to build the bridges between PPSD and the refugee community to make sure they are aware of what's going on in our school system. I will work with our other board member to create parents conference and parents activity at least twice a month to make sure parents involved and have a voice in the kids' education.
Are you all set?
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. That was a well-prepared presentation, and we certainly appreciate that. Committee members, any questions?
No.
Council members? Hearing none. Actually, I have a question for you. So I am the council person for Ward 5. In my ward is Rhode Island College.
Yes.
And I noticed that you're the Rhode Island College Student Event Coordinator.
Yes.
I would love for you to encourage your students to reach out and participate in the many community events we have in Ward 5. I've invited Rhode Island College to participate in my rec center, Battistini Rec Center. I've invited them to do their community service obligations associated with their scholarships. And we also have produce in the park that we've invited students to come and help us out, meet the community members, and help educate the community about the importance of fresh produce. So I'm just making a pitch right now to you because you're here and I can. I'd love to work with you. And if you want to call the council office, I'm more than happy to see how we can work together to build community beyond the walls of Rhode Island College in my community. But I want to thank you for your interest in serving. You're a new appointment to the school board, and you have a tremendous background and a desire to serve the Providence community, our students. I think you're an excellent appointment. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion to recommend approval. Do I have that motion made by Vice Chair Castillo, seconded by Councilman?
Second motion, Madam Chair. Good luck.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. You are approved by the Finance Committee. Your appointment will go to the full council at the next council meeting. We wish you well. We thank you for your interest. And if we can help you in any way, do not hesitate to stay connected with us. That's what we're here. That's what we're here for. Okay? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, item 5. Madam Clerk, please read it into the record.
Communication from His Honor the Mayor dated January 1st, 2022, informing the honorable members of the City Council that pursuant to Sections 302B and 701 of the Providence Home Rule Charter of 1980, as amended in Public Law, Chapter 45-50, Sections 1 through 31, passed in 1987, he is this day appointing Jesus Nunez of 74 Bridgham Avenue, Providence, Rhode Island, 02907, as a member of the Providence School Board for a term to expire on January 31st, 2025, and respectfully submits the same for your approval.
Mr. Nunez.
Thank you all. I appreciate you guys for allowing me to be here this evening with you all. Good evening, Chairwoman. Good evening, Finance Committee and
Tell
Council
us about
members.
yourself, sir.
My name is Jesus Nunez. I'm a Providence resident, born and raised here in Providence. My apologies, I'm still under the weather, recovering from COVID, so I'm gonna try to speak as calm as I can so you guys can understand me. Like I said before, born and raised in Providence, Rhode Island. Providence student as well. I've been through the system here in the city as well. And throughout the years, I've always been a advocate for the youth here in our city. In high school, I actually was part of a program called Young Voices. It's a nonprofit organization. And what we would do and what they currently do today, as of today, is advocate for students' educations at not only at the city level, but at the state level as well. So during my time there, I served for 2.5 years. We brought these local issues to the state levels, spoke with the previous governor at the time in terms of the issues that our students faced and issues that I faced as a Providence student as well. I also was a previous intern at the Round State House, interning for former Governor Gina Raimondo. At my time there, I dealt with all constituents all over the state of Rhode Island. And mainly my goal there was to listen and advocate for not only constituents in Providence, but all constituents all over Rhode Island. So that was a fantastic experience that I had. And for me, if I were to fully be appointed to the Providence School Board, is to be not only the advocate for my community, but for our families, in particular the community of color as well. I want to be that voice for not only our students, but the families as well, because being through the system, going to the schools and stuff like that, I've experienced what it's like not to have that support. So I want to be that voice, be that ally, and make sure that their voices are heard, so that our students can not only be successful inside but outside the classroom. And that's a little bit about myself and what I plan on doing. Thank you so much for your time.
Great. Committee members, any questions?
Nope.
Thank you very much for your interest in serving on the Providence School Board. Very important role, and we appreciate your interest and look forward to working with you. I'd like to entertain a motion to recommend approval.
Taking a motion.
Motion to approve made by Council Vice Chair Councilwoman Castillo, seconded by Councilman
Second the
Narducci.
motion, Madam Chair.
All in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Mr. Nunez, you're approved by the Finance Committee. You go before the full council. We wish you well. Hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Care of
Appreciate it.
yourself. Okay. All right. Item 6, Madam Chair, please read that into the record.
Communication from His Honor the Mayor dated January 1st, 2022, informing the honorable members of the City Council that pursuant to sections 302B and 1102 of the Providence Home Rule Charter of 1980, as amended in Public Law, Chapter 45-50, Sections 1 through 31, passed in 1987, is this day, reappointing Sylvia Brunel of 26 Vernon Street, Providence, Rhode Island, 02903, as a member of the Board of Licenses for a term to expire on January 31st, 2025, and respectfully submits the same for your approval.
Wonderful. Ms. Brunel, welcome. Welcome to the Finance Committee.
Good evening, Madam Chair, committee members, and everybody who's attending this meeting. I am a resident of Providence for the last 30 years. I have been a business owner, providing jobs and contributing to the growth of the economy. I have also volunteered for many boards like civic boards, nonprofit, professionals, and also the retirement board. And I believe that the boards and commissions should reflect the community. I was fortunate to finish another commissioner's term, and I look forward to servicing for the whole term this time. This is a very strong board. I'm very happy to be part of. And as a business owner, I know what it's like to close doors and leave employees without jobs. And in this board, we have to weigh those decisions sometimes. And, but we also have to think of the safety of the residents. So as a resident and business owner, I think I bring a lot to the table, and I wanna ask you to allow me to continue. And I look forward to serving my city and continuing, being part of this strong board.
Well, thank you very much for your service. Your board is a very busy board. You are absolutely correct. When you have difficult decisions to make, you have to weigh public safety and the economic viability of some businesses in the city of Providence. We're very proud of your service. You've done a great job. And I'm thrilled to hear that you want to continue on. I see Councilman Narducci has his hand up, so I'm going to allow Mr. Councilman Narducci to ask any questions that he might have.
Thank you, Madam Chair. More of a comment than a question. Sylvia, I want to thank you for your service and your honesty and your caring of how important this committee is to our city. And to the constituents that live around some of these businesses, and especially in the entertainment field. I'd like to just take a minute to say how proud I am to continue my support for you, Sylvia, and stay loyal as you've been, and keep your mind where it is with the importance of this particular licensing board. Is one of the most important boards we have, obviously, in the city. And thank you for understanding that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Well said, Councilman Nanducci. Anyone else? Councilman Vargas.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I just wanted to support Sylvia Bernal. Is a great pleasure to meet you the other night when I went down to City Hall. And thank you very much for the great job you're doing. You understand the community. You are, I'm sure you're Latino like me, and we speak the both languages. And it's a great help that you are in the border licenses, so you understand what the community needs and how we work, how we think, and how we do things. So to help the community and to make them understand which way we can do better business in the city of Providence. Thank you very much, and I support you 100%.
You know, I was supporting you thinking you were Italian.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Okay, anyone else? May I have a motion to recommend approval?
I want to say something.
Oh, absolutely, please.
So, thank you very much, Sylvia Bernard, for your service. I know you are in that board for a little while, and that's just really nice to work with you because I have a lot of problems sometimes in my neighborhood, and you understand what do you do in this board. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Boy, that's a lot of support there. Councilwoman Deputy Majority Leader Harris wants to say something.
I cannot miss out on this opportunity, Chairwoman. Sylvia is a jewel. She's always been in the community, connected to the community, and we all love her. And she's doing an amazing job on that board. And I know we all feel the same way. So hooray, hooray for Sylvia. Thank you, Chairwoman.
Wonderful, thank you. I can't resist. I got to jump on board too and basically say, my council colleagues know how hard I've worked on reforming the Board of Licensing. When I first came on the council, there was one license in every single, liquor. There was one liquor license for all, and every single restaurant had the same license. And it made managing those businesses and holding them accountable very, very difficult, almost an unwielding task. The council took the initiative. I went up to the State House. We lobbied for new licensing laws and basically put together a licensing scheme so that there were different licenses for different types of businesses, making it a little easier for the board to manage and hold the businesses accountable. This board has done a fabulous job. And Sylvia, your appointment to this board was very well received, and you have not let us down. This board is very, very important to the livelihood, the quality of life in every single neighborhood. And it's an important appointment and one that the council doesn't take lightly. So for us all to say wonderful, wonderful things about you is a testament to your service to the city of Providence. So thank you very much. Keep doing the great job you're doing. We support you and we appreciate you. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion to recommend approval.
Taking a motion.
Motion made to recommend approval made by Vice Chair Castillo, seconded by Councilman Narducci. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. You have the full
so much.
Unanimous
really appreciate your
approval. You're going to the full committee council next. Thank you again. Have a good evening.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Good night.
All righty. So what I would like to do is I'm going to try. We're getting late in the evening, and in the interest of time, what I'd like to do is motion to combine items 7 and 8. Can I do that? Read them both, and then we'll have their 2 appointments, reappointments to the tax Board of Tax Assessment. May I do that, Madam Clerk? Motion.
Yes, you may.
Okay, let's bundle 7 and 8 and waive the reading. May I have that motion?
Motion made, Madam Chair.
Motion made by
Second.
Councilman Narducci, seconded by Vice Chair Castillo. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Carries. Let us get Samari Husband and Robert Ritchie before us.
Oh,
You've already been sworn in. Your reappointments, both of you. I'd like to, we'll ask Samari Husband to speak first. Tell us briefly about yourself, why you want to continue serving on the Board of Tax Assessment Review.
I've been a lifelong Providence resident and a CPA in South Providence for many years. And prior to that, prior to being a board member, I did a lot of those tangible tax forms and help people, help small businesses fill out a lot of the paperwork. So it's been really fun for me to be on this board and help taxpayers get a fair shake, or at least feel like they're getting a fair shake. And I really enjoyed serving with Bob and the other members because we really used a really fact-based approach to looking at all these cases. We've read all the cases, looked at the rules, and I think even if people didn't walk out happy, they walked out feeling like their case got a good look. So thanks for reappointment.
Mr. Ritchie, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Providence as well. Former city employee. I was a director of the city for 31 years. I've served on a number of different boards. The school board, when I was 24 years old, so listening to those young folks today brought back memories, and I'm really impressed with the enthusiasm and the appointments there. I'm up for reappointment, as you well know, and as Samari said, we try to be as fair as we can with our taxpayers and give them a good shake. And also we try to protect the city when some businesses will come in and complain about their taxes, and we don't lower them unless we absolutely have to. So I think we thoroughly go through those appeals. It's interesting, it's fun, and I'm glad to have the opportunity to continue to serve in the city in this capacity.
Wonderful. Questions, committee members? Anyone? I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you both for your service. I found enthusiasm. I heard enthusiasm in both of you. So that was also welcome. We appreciate that. We appreciate your service to the city. You've got a tough job to do. You do it well, and we're elated that you were recommended for reappointment. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion to recommend approval of Mr. Husband and Mr. Ritchie.
Taken a motion.
Motion made by Vice Chair Castillo, seconded by
Madam Chair, before I second the motion, I would just like to thank both of you guys for your support and for the job that you do and the commitment that you have made to the city of Providence. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Shamari. And I will second the motion.
Okay, wonderful. Second the motion. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. So we I'm sorry, I lost my chain of thought. Someone just texted me. Okay, all in favor, aye. Any opposed? No one is opposed. Motion carries. Aye. You are approved by the Finance Committee. Your appointment goes before the full council. I thank you again for your service to the city.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have, I'm going to motion to bundle 9, 10, and 11. Appointments to the Human Relations Commission. Motion made by Councilman Narducci, seconded by. Yes.
Second. I'm so moved. So I don't know. Second.
The clerk has asked Madam Clerk, yes.
Yes, I was wondering if we could take number 9 by itself. Mr. Lomuscio could not attend, so we're going to have to deny that one without prejudice.
Okay. Let's take 9 on its own. Thank you for the interruption. Based on the clerk's information, let's deny item 9. Motion to deny item 9 with prejudice.
Deny.
Without prejudice, sorry. Motion made by Councilman Castillo, seconded by
motion.
Councilman Narducci. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. So that's 9. Okay, so now may I bundle 10 and 11, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, motion to bundle item 10 and 11. Motion made by Vice Chair Castillo, seconded by Councilman
Second motion.
Narducci. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. We have Iselle Mendoza, and who is this? Anthony Santori. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you seek to be to serve on the Human Relations Commission. And we'll start on Ms. Mendoza first.
Yes, thank you, Madam Councilwoman. My name is Iselle Mendoza. I was born and raised in Olneyville, still currently live in my childhood home. My parents emigrated from Guatemala over 30 years ago. I went through the public system. I graduated from Modern College, earned my bachelor's in youth development. I am now currently serving as a project officer with the Health Equity Zone Initiative at the Providence Department of Health. Prior to that, I worked as a community health worker for a nonprofit called One Neighborhood Builders, where I did direct service with community members who, in order to address their health disparities, and to do that, we address their their healthcare and social needs. And so I am very interested to be part of the Human Relations Commission because it involves advocating for the people of Providence to ensure civil rights protection and its practice. It's about uplifting the diverse cultural communities and driving our city towards a greater equity. And that's what I'm doing now. And I hope to do that at a city level.
Wonderful. Thank you. Very well said. Mr. Santori, I've never seen you before in my life.
Good evening, everyone. I know it's been a long night for everyone. My name's Anthony Santori. Hello to everyone, all of the council people present. I think most of you do know me, my background. I was a Providence resident. I ran for city council. I own co-owner of the Coliseum nightclub and the Free Play Bar Arcade. And I spent a number of years on the board of Rhode Island Pride. I was the facilitator and creator of the transgender listening session and community of color listening sessions. Through my time on Pride and the board of Pride, I really feel that I developed a greater sense and understanding of my community and the underserved community. I'm going to be 63. I'm very honored to be part of this, and I hope that my years of life and experience can help with the important work that we do need to do that was so nicely expressed by the person just before me. So I do feel that I can contribute, and I will do my very best for the city of Providence and for everyone involved.
Wonderful. Committee members, any questions?
No, just a comment. I know Anthony, I know you will.
Thank you, Councilman Narducci.
Madam Clerk, you have a question? You have your hand up?
No, I don't have a question. We have a resume for Mr. Santori that we just need to enter into the record.
Okay. Motion to enter a resume provided by Anthony Santori into the record. Motion made by Vice Chair Castillo, seconded by Councilman Narducci. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. That item is entered. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilman Vargas.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say thank you to both of them for taking the initiative to be in this board. It's very important, especially for Iselle Mendoza. Gracias por tomarte el tiempo y participar en eso también. Thank you very much for taking your time to be in this Board. You two guys will do a great job on this board. Thank you very much.
Okay, I would like to echo the sentiments of my council colleagues. Very impressed by your backgrounds, your interest. I know that you're going to do a great job. And Mr. Santori, you have already made an indelible mark on the city of Providence. You have served in so many capacities, really just promoting, promoting the city of Providence and all of its people. So thank you. I personally, I know you, and I know you're going to do a great job. And I thank you. This is hard work, and it's important work. And I think these are two great appointments to a very important board. With that, may I have a motion to recommend approval of these two fine folks? Motion made by Vice Chair Castillo, seconded by Councilman Narducci. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. You go to the full council for a vote.
Thank you,
We
everyone.
wish you well. Stay in touch. Thank you very much for your interest. And the last item we have this evening, on item 12, let's waive the reading. Motion to waive the reading made by Vice Chair Castillo, seconded by Councilman Narducci. All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Would Mr. Penales? Are you with us?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, you are being appointed to the Providence Public Building Authority, and you're going to tell me where that $3 million is going. No, I'm teasing.
That's
Okay, tell us a little bit about yourself, sir, and your interest in serving on the authority.
Yeah, sure. So I am also a lifelong resident of Providence and proud attendee and graduate of the Providence public school system. So I was happy to see the young, enthusiastic voices who are going to be joining the city council over there as well. So that was really exciting. But a little bit about myself. I have a civil engineering degree from WPI, MBA from the University of Rhode Island, currently serving as a director of operations, network operations for a telecommunications company. Leading a large team that's responsible for building network services across the state of Massachusetts, and also delivering network services to residential, small business, and large business customers across that area. So yeah, just 24 years in experience in both engineering and management and executive management positions. And I think my experience in building large teams, managing large budgets, and focusing on both process improvement and strategic planning gives me some of the skill sets that would be, I think, helpful on that committee. So I'm honored to be here, and I'm hoping that both my experience and my passion to help the city contributes to a positive decision here.
Wonderful. Committee members, questions, comments, council members? What do you think of project management?
I think it's important. It's certainly important. Just to have oversight, especially on that amount of funds that's being delivered. I agree with some of the statements that were talked about earlier about front loading, capital program. That's what you want to do when you have large funds like that. You want the money to start working for the city as soon as possible. But there's a lot of pre-work that has to go into that. There's a lot of planning that has to go into that to make that work properly. So excited to, kind of join in that process.
Interesting. Okay. Any questions from anyone else? Okay, let's entertain a motion to recommend approval of Mr. Penales, certainly qualified. Motion made by Vice Chair Castillo, seconded by Councilman
Second
Narducci.
motion, Madam Chair.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Mr. Penales, you are joining the esteemed Providence Public Building Authority, and you're going to find my $3 million, and you're going to make sure it's spent wisely. That's your first charge.
and help me to do the Elmwood Community Center. That's the
Okay,
second
the
job.
Elmwood Community Center, we want that project done.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made to adjourn by Deputy Majority Leader Narducci, seconded by Councilwoman Castillo. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Long
Good night,
meeting. Thank you,
everybody.
everyone, for your participation.
Good night,
Chief,
Madam Chair.
Annie, I knew you were going to stay till the very end. Thank you. Always can count on you.
You got it.
Be safe, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you, clerks.
Good night.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.